What up? What up? What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a productive, profitable, most importantly, blessed week, man. Gotta stay productive, gotta stay blessed. It's important. Want to give a few people a few minutes to jump on. Drop in the chat if you're grateful for being alive today. There's a lot to be grateful for, man. The minute you wake up in the morning, the minute you notice that you're still above ground, that shit is a blessing, man. You got to be grateful and express that gratitude. I know I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for being alive today, man. I remember when I was out getting high and drugging, and man, how self doubt really played a big part in my life. I want to talk about that because it's something that affects all of us at some point in our life. I mean, that nagging voice was inside of my head telling me, "You're not going to be able to get sober. Who do you think you are? You've been shooting dope for the last 5 years. You lost your mom. Your life went upside down. You ain't never going to be able to bounce back. You can't do this." And that shit was powerful, man. And self-doubt could be real powerful. It held me back from reaching my full potential and achieving my dreams. I remember, for years I was being held back because I had that self-doubt and that inner critic, that gremlin growling at me and screaming at me, telling me that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't valuable enough to be able to bring myself back to greatness. So it wasn't until after I was able to achieve sobriety and learn how to overcome that self-doubt and realize that I'm in control of that voice. That voice doesn't control me. That's when the aha moment started to open up. So I want to share with you guys some strategies on how you could overcome self-doubt, because I think it's really important to learn how to not allow that voice to control you, but you control it. And the first thing is you got to be able to really acknowledge that self-doubt, because it's okay to feel uncertain or question yourself at times. Everybody goes through it. Remember, you're not alone with that. Even the most successful people have dealt with self-doubt. Embrace the fact that it's a natural human emotion, but it doesn't have to define you. By acknowledging it, you take away some of its power and you become more aware of when it creeps up on you. Self-doubt often feeds on negative thoughts and those limited beliefs about ourselves. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough," stop and challenge those thoughts for a minute. Ask yourself, what evidence do I really have that supports this thought? More often than not, you're going to realize that negative thought, most of them are all bullshit and exaggerated. Replace them with positive affirmations in your life and focus on your strengths. Remind yourself that you're a spiritual being living a human experience, and you have those attributes and those gifts that are far more superior than any of those negative thoughts that you're having. Another thing you want to do to overcome self-doubt is you got to learn from your failures, because failure is part of life, no matter how you slice it. And it's essential to change our perspective on it. Instead of viewing failure as a confirmation of inability to be able to accomplish something, look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each setback is a chance to acquire valuable experience and knowledge. Failure is just a stepping stone on that journey towards success. Remember, even the most successful people in the world have felt numerous failures in their lives. I mean, look at Thomas Edison. The guy was told by his teachers that he's too stupid to learn anything and he'll never accomplish anything in his life. He failed making the light bulb over 1,000 times, but he never gave up. And what did he do? He ended up creating electricity. That's the reason we're able to be on these computers and have this technology around the world, because he was the first to come up with electricity. And what about Stephen King? Stephen King got turned down 30 times. He was told his first book, Carrie, wasn't going to be a hit. It wasn't going to make it. And what happened? He ended up making it a bestseller, and he became one of the best authors of all times. Something happens when you learn to realize that failure is part of success. that greatness that's on the other side of success that's waiting for you, that's what happens when you don't give up. And another thing that you got to realize is don't be afraid to fail. Let go, let those fears, let that fear go and realize that the fear that you're having of failure is stopping you from creating your own destiny. You got to stare fear dead in the face, stare it in the eyes, and realize that you got to face your fears rather than running from them. Okay? Because for some people, fear stands for fuck everything and run. You want to change that to face everything and reforge. Don't let fear dictate everything and be your steering wheel in life. You want to be in the driver's seat, steering the wheel, creating your own destiny. Fear is huge. Fear is everywhere. And yet, fear can be overcome and controlled. It can even be a powerful learning experience. For some people, right? Fear stands for that fuck everything and run. You want to change that, man. Change the narrative in your life. Because I remember before I achieved sobriety, I had a fear of what life would be like without drugs. I couldn't imagine life without having some kind of mind-altering substance in my body every single day. But it wasn't until I faced that fear head on and chose to get help on overcoming my demons, that's when I was able to achieve sobriety and have that paradigm shift. So now, rather than feeling powerless over drugs and alcohol, out there chasing some bullshit high, now I gain power from prayer and meditation every single day, which is so much more empowering than chasing a high that doesn't even exist. Facing that fear changed my life forever. And my gratitude is through the roof for that. Remember, you're not defined by your fear. It doesn't define your life. Keep that in mind, and it's going to help you recall successful times to help you dig in, find that resilience, that confidence, and get that swag back and remove the self-doubt. Another strategy for overcoming self-doubt, you got to surround yourself with positivity in your life. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Your environment can greatly impact your mindset. Avoid individuals who bring you down and constantly undermine that confidence and drain your energy. Surround yourself with supportive and positive people who believe in your abilities. I remember growing up, my family had a saying that's famous in Puerto Rico, and it was, dime con quién te andas y te digo quién eres. I never really paid attention to what that meant till later on in life. It means, tell me who you walk with, and I'm going to tell you who you are. You got to seek mentors who have faced similar struggles and have overcome self-doubt themselves. Building a supporting cast is crucial to overcoming that self-doubt. In order to achieve sobriety, I had to remove certain people from my life. I had to get rid of anyone who was bringing on that negative, catabolic, draining energy and start surrounding myself with people who brought me that anabolic energy. I had to build a support group. I had to go to places where I could find other people who were sober and connected with them and found out what steps they took to get sober and stay sober. When I built myself back to another multi-million-dollar business, I started networking with other people in my industry who were multimillionaires and connecting with them and found out what steps they took to build their business to a multi-million-dollar business. I also had to go out in both networks and see what those people's struggles were so I could learn from their struggles and their mistakes. You want to surround yourself with people that you could learn from and who are going to inspire you. When you hang out with people who always inspire you, then guess what? You're always going to be inspired to do more with your life. Having that support group is absolutely vital towards overcoming self-doubt. And speaking of growth, that leads me to the next strategy that I've been thinking about for overcoming self-doubt. And it's embrace the growth mindset. I mean, it's so important. It means you got to believe in your abilities and the intelligence that can be developed through dedication and hard work. Embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. Don't be afraid of pushing yourself to go beyond your comfort zone. Your paradigm, which is a part of your self-doubt, is always going to want you to stay in your comfort zone because that paradigm doesn't want you to grow. But you know what? When you go out of that comfort zone, That's when you start to see the untapped potential. That's when you start to create success on your own terms. That's where the magic happens, man. This is where true growth is. Embrace that shit and welcome it with open arms like a code of honor. And remember, that's a key to success. I remember after achieving sobriety, I was blessed to be able to build another I built a seven figure IPO marketing company. And even though I was crushing and living an amazing life, God kept pushing at me and nudging at me and telling me that my journey wasn't complete, that I had a bigger purpose in life. And that's when I decided to build my Reforge Academy program. And I remember when I first started, all the self-doubt started creeping in my head. The gremlins started coming in real hard, talking about, are you really going to put your whole life on social media? Who do you think you are? People are going to find out that you're just a recovering addict. They're not going to care anyway. I had to learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. But thank God I did that, man, because let me tell you something. Adding value to people's life is a blessing. And there's no drug, no alcohol will ever give me that euphoric feeling that I get when I'm able to empower someone to transform their life. That's the gift that keeps on giving, man. And if I would have stayed in my comfort zone and just been happy with just the money that was coming in, I would have never been able to find my purpose, man. I would have never been able to know what this feeling feels like. Which brings me to, you know what? You got to start focusing on progression and celebrating the little wins. Don't worry about perfection. Perfection is bullshit. It doesn't even exist. Perfection can be like a breeding ground for self-doubt. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on progress and continuous improvement. Remember, there's no perfect time to start something. That shit don't exist. The best time is now. And that goes for anything you do, especially in making yourself the best version that you could possibly be. Always celebrate your successes, no matter what. No matter how small, it doesn't matter. Recognize them. Recognize that mistakes are part of the learning process and that you're constantly evolving that way. Don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. Learn from them and understand that it's okay if you make a mistake. It's not the end of the world. Why do people beat themselves up and treat themselves worse than they treat anybody else in their life? With all the negative talk and the way they beat themselves up, really think about that. Everybody's guilty of it, man. Everybody does it at some point. They beat the shit out of themselves. They judge the way that they do things. They jump on their victim role. And why is it? I'm going to tell you exactly. It's because people don't understand that self-doubt is a pattern that you absorb. It stems from the limited beliefs, like you got to remember all the bad shit that happens in your life so that you can protect yourself from it ever happening again. Or it comes from your parents or the caregiver you have being hard on you and hard on themselves. You see that and it creates a pattern for yourself. All right. For some people, it could stem from some kind of memory, right, that you had in your life that caused you to start second guessing yourself. For some people, it's because you feel good when you want to try to fit in and you start judging yourself based on what others think so that you don't get rejected in life. But you got to remember, you got to stop giving yourself permission to be authentic in order to do that. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to stop being authentic? What it does is it creates imposter syndrome. Then you try to focus on how to be what other people want you to be like. Come on, man. Stop embarrassing yourself. Be true to who you are, man. Be that spiritual being that your creator created you to be. If you don't learn to change the narrative that you keep telling yourself, that I'm not good enough narrative, or I'm not ready, I'm worthless, why do bad things always happen to me? I always fuck everything up. What's going to happen is you're going to end up staying in that pattern of second guessing yourself. And you're going to always start sabotaging your results. You're going to start acting like you really believe those negative patterns, those negative thoughts, because guess what? Your thoughts become things and those things become a reality. It becomes the reality of life that you create. You got to stop doing that. You got to switch it up And you got to start to learn to practice self-compassion and self-care, which is truly important to overcoming your self-doubt. Be kind to yourself, man. Start treating yourself with the same compassion that you'd offer a friend. Don't be too harsh or critical of your mistakes. Treat those setbacks as opportunities to practice self compassion and remind yourself it's all right to be imperfect. You're perfect the way you are. How about that? You're a spiritual being that your creator made you what you're supposed to be. Don't try to change that for somebody else. You don't have to beat yourself up. Instead of beating yourself up, why don't you remind yourself how amazing you are? Start looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you are a spiritual being that's living a human experience, and that you are going to be able to create your own destiny, and that you are valuable, and that you are loved, and that you are peace. You are your gratitude. You got to remember that you are that being that you're supposed to be. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't beat yourself up about something that you can't even control. Because you know what's going to happen is you're going to end up being that person that you don't want to be instead of the person you're supposed to be. I'm telling you, man, it might sound cliche, but it works if you work it. And most importantly, you got to really believe it, because you know what? You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in some kind of higher power, whether it be God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, whatever you believe. You got to believe you can and you will overcome self doubt to create your own destiny. I remember after achieving sobriety, man, I put my ass to work on learning how to overcome self doubt. Which brings me to tell you, man, if you want to overcome your self doubt, you want to overcome your fears, come join me. Come join me on August 16th, man. I'm going to be doing another vision workshop, the Reforge Your Vision workshop. It's going to be epic. Don't miss out on it. We're going to cover befriending your fears. We're going to cover how to really start making decisions and the power of decision making. And man, the power of visualization is going to be in play. And if you really want to create the life that you would absolutely love and learn the foundations, the principles of the foundations that help me build my life and help me take my life to the next level, then you don't want to miss out, man. Come to the Reforge You Vision workshop, August 16th, 7 o'clock, man. Look forward to seeing all y'all there. Everyone have a great night. Stay blessed, stay productive, and keep moving forward, man. Have a good night, y'all.